Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. This is one of the most misunderstood ideas within the spiritual language. Usually read something as more external, morals, or like obedience, or like servitude to the Lord. When you study esoteric principles, you realize that a lot of times when they're referring to the Godhead, they are referring to you internally. What if it's describing how reality is formed inside of you before it ever shows up on the outside of you? Heaven is not a place. Heaven is your inner world. Earth, if you think about it in the elemental sense, which is something solid, that is what the inner world becomes once it's more stabilized. So the verse isn't separating two worlds. There are two forces basically working together, and that is the will and that is the imagination. Not as opposites. They're operating as like one singular system. The imagination generates form. It produces images, emotions, and scenarios that your brain goes through. The will is not like force. The will is direction. The will is what stabilizes the internal world. The imagination shows you the possibilities, and the will is what keeps you connected to those possibilities. And the things you stay connected to eventually shape your reality. It's a loop. It just keeps happening over and over and over and over. And most people are living inside this loop unconsciously. And even scarier, some people are living in someone else's loop unconsciously. Let's break it down more simply. I have visuals. First is your vibration, your nervous system. When you're calm, your perception is more clear. When you're anxious, everything distorts. Then comes the imagination. This is your simulation system. You know how we say that the world is a simulation and holographic reality and all that shit. That's kind of where this can come into play. Then comes the will. And again, it's not force. It's selection, repetition, what keeps you returning internally. And finally, there's the reality, which is just the stabilized output of everything I just listed. The imagination proposes, your will stabilizes, reality reflects what's stabilized. But they're constantly influencing each other. This system does not stop. Once I'm done with the 3 courses that I've put up, intro perception, Dreamwork, and sensuality, I will then be able to release the other thing I'm working on, which is the will system and how to really understand your will and channel it and direct it even more. The will only becomes stable when these 3 things are aligned: your perception, your subconscious patterns, and your sexual energy. For most people, when those 3 things are misaligned, you feel very fragmented. You change directions constantly throughout life. You feel lost, adrift. But when they align, the will becomes a natural thing. And your life starts to feel directed instead of reactive. Here's maybe a starting point for some of you out there. Start asking yourself, what do I want? Make it personal. Make it specific. What do I want from my job? What do I want from my relationships? What do I want from this conversation? What do I want for myself right now? Because most people never define this direction clearly enough to stabilize. They only react. Start practicing this. You're going to start realizing how much you are actually reacting to your reality and not setting the standards for it. The more you realize you're reactive and you're reacting all the time to bills and getting up 2 hours before so you can not get stuck in traffic, so you're not late for work, and that they dock your pay and your coworkers get mad at you, your boss gets mad at you. It's all a very reactive matrix. When you start asking yourself this question, it begins to kind of reverse all of that. You're not separate from your imagination. You are not separate from your will. They are one system itself going through you. When that system becomes coherent, your perception of things stops feeling random. I think that's it for today, guys. I would love to go into this like way deeper for the will and understanding the will and the real stabilizing force that it is. But I have to get through those 3 courses first, and then we can move on. If there's any questions, let me know. If you guys have any suggestions, readings, articles, shit like that, that could possibly help, formulate a course about the will and enacting your will, let me know as well, because the more the better. We're all going through this journey together. Peace.